What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Juice Reacts video, and yes, I am in black and white. I know, it looks really weird, but for some reason, my webcam just to be like, hey, you know what? You don't need color. And I was like super washed out, and I can't fix it. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna be black and white today, so fuck it. So yeah, today we're reacting to another Major Kill video. I feel like it's been a really long time since we've reacted to Major Kill. And he put out a video that said, should there be female space marines in Warhammer 40k? And I've asked this question many times. A lot of people have said no, because that's basically what the space nuns are, blah, 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 blah. But I do want to get his perspective on it and see what he thinks, if there should be or not, and just see whatever other history he drops into this world. But yeah, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. We're getting near 6,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen, so definitely do that. It helps out the channel. But right now, we're going to just dive right into it. Should there be freaking female space marines? Let's check it out.
After over 6 months of being locked down in my house and barely seeing anyone, I finally got to escape to the country and get away from it all for a couple days with my best mates. How did I get out of a lockdown city, I hear nobody ask? Well, apparently being a YouTuber qualifies me as an important worker, which allows me instant and easy access through military checkpoints. With this newfound freedom, I've gained a lot of perspective. Hence, what better time than now to weigh in on the female space marine debate? I recently saw a Twitter thread about a girl who was getting into the Warhammer hobby and thought space marines were cool. Fair enough, they are pretty cool. Hence wanted to make female space marines. Well, a dude didn't like that very much, and they had a bit of an ugly spat. Now, I know a lot of my videos are full of jokes and mostly satire, but sometimes I like to challenge myself to tackle more interesting topics while still making at least one person with severe bladder issues piss themselves. Today we'll be discussing the debate over female space marines. Should they exist in lore, or should they be forever barred from receiving some of that fat gene seed? I'll try to be objective for most of this video. I'll be playing devil's advocate and offering up good points for both sides of the argument before finally giving my own opinion on the matter, and if we should even give a shit in the first place. Let's get into it. I'm not a Warhammer hobby elitist. By that, I mean that I don't think there should be one specific way that people should engage in the hobby. I don't think it should be gatekept, and if someone is in it purely for stuff like memes or text-to-speech, then all power to them. Obviously, if they're going to try and launch a crusade and turn Warhammer into some furry fiesta, then that's not going to fly. But for the most part, as long as they aren't shoving their interpretation of Warhammer down my throat, then who cares? After all, I am the #1 peddler of Warhammer hentai in the world. To prove that, if this video gets 50,000 views and 5,000 likes, I'll get a hentai piece of a female space marine made and chuck it up on my Patreon to give everyone triggered boners. The point I'm trying to make is that if someone makes female space marine art or 3D prints some female heads for their space marines, then cool, it doesn't affect me or anyone else, who cares? But that isn't the debate here. The debate is if they should be a part of official canon. First, let's look why that could be lore-friendly. Could it make sense to start using females as Astartes candidates? After all, we have girls in the military, and other sci-fi super soldiers use females, such as the Spartans from Halo. No one complains about them, and Halo is less far-fetched than Warhammer 40k. The female Spartans also perform just as well as their male counterparts. But Major Kill, males are scientifically faster and stronger than females. The female Spartans in Halo are an unrealistic representation of the genders. Shut your bigoted mouth, Timmy, before I cut off your cock, turn you into a girl, then slam the shit out of you. You already slam me. Yeah, well, it'll be a different hole this time. When discussing sci-fi fantasy, making real-life comparisons on how things are supposed to work is not how you go about things. That would be like saying, females are bigger and stronger than men because girl spiders are bigger and murder the males after fucking them. It's just not a comparison that you can lean on. This is where a lot of the arguments for female space marines end. Here's one. The single biggest reason why there are no female space marines is that because if you take a female and turn them into an Astartes, they will pretty much just become a male anyway. Astartes get injected with the equivalent of 10 Arnolds worth of space steroids and testosterone. Their voices would deepen, they would shave their heads for practical reasons, their tits would turn into pecs, and their vaginas wouldn't work. People think female space marines would look like this, but in reality, they would look like this. Space marines are very masculine, that is a fact. An argument for female space marines is so girl players of the hobby can have characters to look up to and admire that they can relate to, but an extremely butch chick with bigger muscles than me and also a deeper voice isn't the character that will do that for them. Another point is that even if the female space marines are physically identical to male space marines, the way female brain works is completely different. Girls are more emotional and complex. It could mess with the strict psychological indoctrination that an Astartes has to go through. Female space marines would likely need more work to break down their high levels of compassion and other emotions that might stop them from pulling the trigger on some filthy Xenos. This brings me to my next argument against female space marines. They're already badass girls in power armor that use bolter guns, the Sisters of Battle. Unlike space marines, these nuns with guns were designed with feminine aspects in mind, without the usual sexualization that a lot of other franchises put female heroes through.
Good point.
Why is it that there are so many people calling for female space marines, but absolutely nobody is calling for male Sisters of Battle? Sure, space marines are more front and center than Sisters of Battle, and they do get a lot more love, but that is because they sell better, as most of the people in the Warhammer hobby are males. Just look at my analytics. If the girls in the hobby rallied behind the Sisters of Battle and started buying them more, then guess what? You would get more Sisters of Battle stories with better writing and better models. Everything in Warhammer has a male and female counterpart. Custodians have the Sisters of Silence. All the Elder have both genders fulfilling all the roles, bar maybe something like a Howling Banshee. Same goes for the Tau, with one of their greatest commanders, Shadow Sun, being a female. The Tyranids don't even have genders, which is like an SJW's wet dream, and the Necrons are in a similar boat to them. As such, I will say with confidence that Warhammer is not a sexist setting. There are plenty of strong female characters who are able to maintain their feminine identity. You could even make the argument that by making female space marines and lifting them up as the strong female characters to look up to, you are being sexist, as they would be more male than female. It would be like when the Australian government made Tony Abbott the Minister for Women, despite him being a backwards sexist dickhead. So now that I have laid out the main arguments for both sides, what is my straightforward and honest opinion on the debate? Is there room for female space marines in Warhammer canon, or do people just need to shut the fuck up about it and move on with their lives? The issue isn't female space marines. The issue is female representation in Warhammer, and that issue is manifesting via the poster boys of Warhammer. Space Marines are the heart and soul of Games Workshop, and they are all exclusively male. This debate would not exist if the Sisters of Battle and Space Marines were equally front and center.
I have a point
so
that I
should we
make
make Sisters of Battle front and center? Honestly, no. I'm personally against catering to the minority over the majority. That's not to say I believe that Sisters of Battle or Silence should get neglected, but the reality is that over 90%, if not higher, of Warhammer hobbyists are male. Hence it makes sense that 90% of Warhammer's content should cater towards them. It's just basic business sense. On top of that, I don't think that male things should be converted to female just cause. This is why Ocean's 8 and Chick Ghostbusters were shit. There's no valid in-law reason for female space marines to suddenly exist. There are more than enough males out there to supplement the numbers, and the resources and new knowledge required to make the process work for females is an expense that the Imperium can't currently afford. It took Cole, the greatest scientist in the galaxy, 10,000 years and unlimited resources to make a small improvement over the Space Marines. How long do you think it would take to make the process compatible with an entirely different gender? If we really want to get deep about it, a Space Marine isn't someone you want to be or look up to. They are brainwashed until they barely remember the shape of their mother's face.
That looks pretty
The physical process is just as agonizing as they tear you apart and put you back together, full of new organs that your body will probably reject, causing you to painfully die. If they do accept it, then you will wish you died, as you will then put through these agonizing trials. Your new brothers die like flies around you. Then if you somehow make it that far, you're deployed against the greatest monsters and nightmares in the galaxy until the day you violently die. And yes, it will be a painful death. One-shotting a Space Marine is very rare due to how tough they are, so your death will be drawn out. Likely torn limb from limb by Tyranids, or a demon, or a Tau Gundam. However, all of this pales to the terrifying fact that you won't even be able to fuck. Space Marines should not be looked up to as people you want to be like. I don't want to be a fucking Space Marine. I like having parents and I like having sex. You know what I dislike? Being torn limb from limb with a limp dick. You know who can have sex? Sisters of Battle. I'd be a Sister of Battle over a Space Marine in a heartbeat. Chapter Master Valrak would agree with me on this one. I know some people will think I'm a sexist pig or whatever for saying this, but, you know, that sounds like a them problem and not a me problem. Ladies, you got badass Sisters of Battle, insane Sisters of Silence, scary.
So he's just promoting his own stuff at that point. So here's the thing. First of all, Ocean's 11 and Ghostbusters thing, the Ghostbusters thing was set to fail because they tried to make it in a different universe and they didn't try to connect it with the other thing. That's why it failed. Also bad writing. So that's, I think there's this weird skewed mindset that making things female just for the sake of making it, you can make it work. It's just, first of all, it looks bad. Just we're just gonna make them female, and then you throw in not good writing to that. Like, it's just gonna, you're setting yourself up for failure. But I think things like that can work. I think some people just do get fucking, they get all snowflakey and they're like, my thing can't have girls in it because me. The fucking grow up. But anyways, so that's just that on that. But I will say this. Yes, obviously, Astartes are like your main freaking... Sorry, I have two cameras here, and if I'm looking over here, this is my streaming camera, this is my... Sorry, if you're wondering why I'm doing that. I gotta pay attention to this one. The reason why freaking... Okay, so look. Astartes, yes, should be the face of the franchise because it's your moneymaker. I totally agree with that with Major Kill. But I will say that comic books have this same problem, though. And I will say, as somebody who absolutely loves Batman, Astartes are the Batman of the Warhammer 40k universe because of the popularity. But even I, who is a Batman freaking fanboy, who slobs on the knob of Batman, sometimes I don't want to read Batman stories, and sometimes there's too much Batman. And that's how it is. And I want something different. So, if the Sisters of Battle are not, like, really put up there and not giving good stories, because this is the thing in comics that I really, really hate. Batman always gets the best writers. Well, the current Batman run's kind of trash. But usually, Batman gets the best writers and the best artists and all of that stuff. Kind of the same thing with Superman, except for the last couple years. But Wonder Woman never really gets that treatment. Wonder Woman doesn't ever get the top writer or the top artist. They always get some random person that tries to do the same random shit with Wonder Woman, and she never gets a really good story. I think that it needs to be changed up. Somebody you think you would have on Batman, you need to put on Wonder Woman so we can get some good Wonder Woman stories. I feel like there are female characters in a lot of these fictional universes that it's not necessarily being catered to. They don't put the same effort into those characters. And I have said the Sisters of Battle sound fucking awesome. One, the reason why I think I would prefer them over Astartes is it doesn't seem like there's a bunch of confusing chapters to the Sisters of Battle. It just looks like they're nuns with guns, they drop churches on people, and they fucking fight. That's awesome. But if you're being an Astartes, it's like, well, what are you? Freaking Imperium, this and that, Chaos, bro. There's like so many. It's like getting into soccer, and you're like, well, what the fuck? There's so many divisions and all this other bullshit. Like, where do I start? I'll just watch the World Cup. You know what I mean? Some people just like the simplicity of like one thing. Granted, I know a lot of you guys have a lot of knowledge, so you're probably gonna say, oh, actually, the Sisters of Battle have a whole bunch of different blah, blah, blah. Maybe they do. I don't know that personally, but all I've ever seen is just the Sisters of Battle, and I think they're awesome. And I think, yeah, I would agree, you don't need female Astartes. I've always questioned it just because I question everything. But I will say the Sisters of Battle should be brought up more. If I'm not mistaken, Bricky was the one that said they don't make a lot of the miniatures and stuff like that. I don't know if that's because the originals didn't sell or because maybe they just don't think they will, so they don't produce them. But I don't know. Personally, I think sometimes you have to, I don't think you, when it comes to marketing, I don't think you can just make toys and expect them to sell. Sometimes you have to make like a badass, maybe an 8-episode show of the Sisters of Battle, or like a movie or a game. Like, has there been a game or anything focused around the Sisters of Battle where you're not the Astartes, you're the fucking Sisters of Battle? Like, I would play a game that is those badass chicks. That's all I'm saying. And I think that's where genres need to change, opposed to being like, oh, nobody's gonna buy that. You gotta take risks, because you never know if those ladies are gonna pop off. If you have a badass game centered around them, and then it brings other females, because obviously Major Kill showed 98% of his audience is male. If you can bring in a different audience, why wouldn't you want that? You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. I know a lot of people are like, nah. There's a lot of gatekeepers in fandoms. I totally get it. You guys have been pretty cool with me coming in here, not knowing shit and doing this, but I like giving my opinions on stuff. So yeah, I think Astartes, obviously, they're the Batman of this universe, but sometimes I think you need to give a different spark to your universe. And if the Sisters of Battle can be brought up to almost the level, even if it's not going to be the same level, because Batman's always Batman, he's like 5 levels above everybody. I think you should put in a lot more effort on some of your supporting cast, if you have to say it. But that's just my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know your thoughts on it, because again, I don't know. I think I agree with Major Kill. I'd rather be a Sister of Battle than an Astarte, personally. But that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, if you have any recommendations for me to watch anything, let me know. Obviously, that also doesn't have to be Warhammer 40k. You guys have noticed we've been covering a lot of Apex Legends lately. We do that every so often when they drop a new season. But I am also trying to dive into other things, because there's a lot of stuff out there to react to, and I just want to diversify the channel, but we will always cover Warhammer 40k and SCP stuff here. But, just want to watch some other stuff as well. So, of course, if you got anything funny or anything interesting to watch, let me know in the comment sections down below. But that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if you haven't hung out on the Twitch stream, you should definitely do that. We've been having a good time over there. I did have a schedule for a week and a half. Now I'm back to my job. So, I'm not going to be able to do that, but we will be streaming Fridays, so hit that follow button if you want to come hang out. Also, let me apologize in advance if you guys went to the Twitch stream and you couldn't comment. I found out that I had like a 30-minute lockdown on new followers. I'm so sorry. I did not know that you could not comment for 30 minutes. That's on me. It is gone now. Definitely come hang out. Also, if you want some silly content, weird content, go check out my TikTok. And of course, if you guys want some merch, check out the merch as well. Link in the description. But as always, I am your host, JUICEbox. When you wake up in the morning, ask yourself something. I'm a daily dose of juice. See you guys next time.